How's it going, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's Friday, and I'm doing a Takeaway Friday today. It's Takeaway Friday. Take it away. So, I come to you every day at noon, and I talk to you about artwork and being an artist and what does it take, from my point of view, my experience, what does it take being an artist, right? And every day at noon, there's a different experience, right? There's a different topic. On Mondays, I talk about having your mindset right. On Tuesdays, I do art marketing. On Wednesdays, I talk to you guys about art strategies, techniques, and whatnot, about how to create artwork, and I do some demos. On Thursdays, I do Thursday Cafecito with my wife, which we talk about partnership, being in a partnership, in a relationship. When you have someone else working with you, whether it's your spouse, significant other, your a friend, someone who's doing it together with you. Maybe it's a joint thing. Maybe you guys went into business together, or for whatever reason, right? And then on Friday, I do a Takeaway Friday, meaning everything that I've learned throughout the week, what I did right, what I did wrong, and how do I avoid it next time, what I learned from the week. So today, my Takeaway Friday is about doing everything in the spirit of play. You want to do it. How's it going, Kim? How's it going, El Güero 80, Elisabetta Archer, and Edith Grave. How's it going, guys? Sorry, I'm trying to see things sideways. And if later you guys are watching this on YouTube, guys, be patient with me. Don't complain about it being sideways. I'm doing it sideways because I'm showing it on Instagram first. I'm doing this live Instagram, and then I'm taking the time to share them also on YouTube. Just a second, guys. So I'm sharing them on YouTube later on. I'm going to flip them. If you're watching them on YouTube later, please be patient with me. It takes about 2 to 3 days to allow me to flip it, and so that you guys can see it horizontal as well on YouTube. But anyways, right now it's Instagram. It's cool. Let's do this. The spirit of play, guys. Why is it important? Why did I learn this? This is a very important thing for me, because work itself is, I believe, it's like a sport. It's like a sport. If you're not doing it, knowing that it's serious but it's not, you're gonna have a very hard time. And what I mean by this, let me take a little sip of my Starbucks. Foam all the way to the top. It's like a sport. You're running after the ball. You're playing whatever sport you play. You're doing it with a hard intention, right? You're dead set. You're dead set on it. But in the back of your mind, there is a part of you that understands it's a game. So therefore, you are somewhat relaxed. And I know it's a tricky thing because at one end, you have to be on and you have to be decisive. You have to train. And on the other end, there has to be a relax. So where is the relax? The relax is not in the body. When people are like, relax, relax, relax. The relax is not in the body, because you can't relax. If you are, you have to relax in terms of breathing and whatnot, but you can't relax if you're like parachuting or you're like hanging on to dear life. I don't know, you're skiing or something. You're dead set, right? Your focus, right? Your whole body. But what is relaxed is your mind. Your mind is the one that is relaxed, and that's what I'm trying to get to here. Look, guys, I grew up being told over and over, dude, just kind of relax, you're going too fast. You're doing a lot of stuff. You're trying to become an artist and this and that, and I get it. It's cool, but you got to relax. And I didn't understand what they meant by this. And so, well, later on I find out, as I'm becoming older, that when people say relax, the people are trying to tell you do less. Don't be so obsessed about it. Don't be so focused. You're going to miss out on other things in life. I don't share that way of thinking. I don't like it. To me, it's BS. when you want something, it's like telling I don't know, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, or, relax. Well, maybe Mike Tyson, relax. But when you're training, right? When you're training for something, you can't relax. The part of you that relaxes is your mind, but the training, the body is an emotion, right? Is an emotion. So this is what I'm taking away this week. Look, I've noticed that what needs to relax is the mind. The mind needs to relax. When you're working, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the hours. You got to put in the effort. And every time that I hear this thing about, relax, step back and whatnot, it has to do usually with people that are not doing very much. People that are not doing very much are usually the people telling you this. People telling you, you know what, take your time. It'll all sort out. It'll come together. No, it won't, guys. It won't come together on its own. If you want to, I don't know, if you want to become a professional athlete, it's not going to come on its own. You're going to have to put in the physical effort. You're going to have to put in the time, the right training, and on and on and on. But the dance is, your mind has to be relaxed. If you're putting in the work, trust yourself. Relax. If you're putting in the work. The problem is that many people are not putting in the work and they're trying to relax. That's the problem. That's what I found out in my personal career. A lot of people try to put in the work, don't put in the work, and they're like, it's all going to start out. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's not going to all sort out if you don't put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the energy. And then, when you're putting the energy, do it in a spirit of play. Like, I can't begin to tell you how many times I found myself working. Someone told me stop clapping, but I love clapping. Every time I clap, I feel like I drop a bomb. Bam! I can't begin to tell you guys. Every time that I'm in the studio and I'm working on something, I'm creating some artwork, whatever. If I'm working hard, I find myself to be like in this tense state if I'm not relaxed. If my mind is not relaxed. If my mind is relaxed, I could be working so fast and so hard, but it's in a spirit of play. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. That's what I'm always talking about that when I'm doing my videos, when I'm painting live. It's like the spirit of play. It's like you're a child. You're dead serious about what you're doing. Yes, you're not goofing around, right? Well, maybe I goof around, but it's purposeful, right? You're in it's state of flow. Yeah, definitely. Megan nails it, right? It's the state of flow, but it's you're in a what do they call it? You're dead serious, right? You're dead serious. The thing is that many people, this is what used to happen to me. I always wanted to get in the state of flow. I'm like, man, I can't get in the state of flow. I can't get in the state of flow, which many people call inspiration, or athletes call the zone, right? And I didn't know how to get in it by will, right? And I used to get in it in certain times, right? Only certain times. Like if I was working, at some point I gave up. My mind gave up. My body kept moving, but my mind gave up. And then I would get in the flow, right? Because the flow is no mind. And one thing that I realized over and over, because I started creating artwork on a daily basis, and I started putting in 12, 14-hour work days. What I started realizing was that something was in common. Every time I was in state of flow, I was relaxed. I was working hard. I was moving so fast, moving things around, and I don't know, like the pressure of the work, right? Like I was playing a sport. It felt like if I was running after a ball or something. If I was playing soccer or something. I used to play soccer, so that's why I could relate it. But the work didn't feel heavy. And then there's this trust, right? There's this trust. A trust that happens where everything you touch, it's like you have the Midas touch. Everything you touch, you know what to do. But it's a relaxed state. It's a mental relaxation. It's like I got this. So this is my takeaway, guys. When you're working, put yourself in a place where you, even if you have to tell yourself, especially tell yourself, this doesn't mean that much. This is not that important. I know it sounds weird because it is important. It might be how you put bread on the table. That's how I put bread on the table, by creating artwork. But I have to constantly remind myself, it's play. Play. It's serious, but play with it. Like, act as a child. I know it's weird for many people. Megan got it. Megan, you probably do this already. Most likely, not probably. If you understand that it's a state of flow. Many times I found myself creating artwork and being in a state of distrust, right? I don't trust what I'm doing. And I've talked about it over and over. When you don't trust what you're doing, either one thing or two are happening. One, you're not trained enough. So you can't trust if you're not trained. You're going to be second guessing every move. Two, if you're trained and you're not trusting yourself, you're not relaxed. You're not relaxed. You're not moving fast enough to a point where the mind just, rests. The mind has to rest. And then you act like you're playing. It's like a child. This is one of the things I grew up Catholic, right? I don't belong to a religion or anything anymore, but I did grow up with those ideas and teachings and Christianity, right? And I remember reading and hearing all the time that the JC, right? Jesus used to say, "Be as a child, and I was like that makes total sense. The more I grew up, of course, in the beginning, I didn't get it. I was like, be as a child, what? Be naive? I don't get it. No, kids are like that. Children are in a state of play, right? Every time you're creating artwork and you're in a state of play, you will notice that you're doing things right. For some reason, I don't know why, you start figuring out things because you're trusting the higher power, right? Megan says, yes, you have to trust that the muse is going to provide as long as you are putting in the effort enough. Putting in the effort, through joy and peace. Totally. It's like Picasso used to say, right? I believe in inspiration, but it has to find you working. The thing is that I found myself, even when I'm working, not finding the muse, right? Many times, like I'm putting in the time. It's a daily thing. I'm working, but as Megan said right now, Megan expressed it really well right now. You have to trust, and one way that I find myself trusting is that I start playing. When you start playing, you drop you drop this, right? The male aspect that we have, right? It's pointy. It's an attack, right? It's the male aspect of us. This is the female aspect of us. This is the male aspect of us. I know it's a bit esoteric, but when you are trusting, you're open. You're allowing, right? You're allowing. And I find that in being open, I start playing. It starts becoming a game. I'm no longer trapped in, the painting has to be so good. No, it's like, dude, I know how to paint. I've been painting for 20 years. Just put in the work and play with it. Play with it. Doodle. That's how I catch myself, doodling. And then all of a sudden, man, I come up with this, for me, right? And for my collectors, masterpieces, right? People are like, oh man, like you outdone yourself in this painting. And I'm scratching my head and I'm like, really? I thought I was playing. I was dead serious physically, right? I was putting in the time and on and on and on. But I thought I was playing with it. To me, it was a game. Megan says, yes, nobody says success has to be a struggle. It can be fun. It definitely can be fun. Kim says, doodling is how I started. Doodling, for me, is the entry point. If I don't doodle, for example, if I'm gonna draw something, right? Let me show you guys right here. If I'm gonna draw something, a house, whatever, I start going like this. This is the very first thing I start doing. Especially if I don't feel motivated, all I start doing is start doing this. This is my practice. I start going like this. Practice that, guys. If you guys have a hard time doing that, just because what you're doing is you're playing, and I start acting like I'm conducting something. I start playing. What happens is that I start trusting. It's like the Little Mermaid. I start trusting myself, and then it feels like when I'm playing, I drop the guard. There's a guard happening. That's what I'm talking about. There's a guard happening. Be intuitive as well. Totally. Pratas Ricardo says, be intuitive as well. It's what it is. It's intuitive. It's play. It's flow. But you have to trust, right? And many times it's difficult to trust.
Yeah, especially that guard is judgment.
It's judgment. The guard is judgment, like my wife said right now. It's a judgment state. is, and the judgment comes because you're stuck in your mind. We're thinking about someone hurt us. We hurt someone. Someone says I'm not good enough. I don't believe I'm not good enough. I didn't sell the last piece I created. Why am I creating this one now? Kim says that's a good way to let your creativity come out. Yeah, I start playing. I heard this from a successful artist in town. What he used to do, I heard this when I was 14 years old. I was already creating oil paintings, and I was visiting artists, right? I was trying to learn from artists who have their studios, especially older artists who were professors here at the U of A, at the University of Arizona, where I'm here. I'm in Tucson, and I used to hear this, right? This professor, what he used to do was he used to have these huge canvases. He did this abstract work. But regardless of whether you do abstract or realism, you will find that it's difficult either way. If your mind is not right, just because you do abstract doesn't mean that, oh yeah, well, you know what to do. No, you don't, because it's flow. It's flow. So what this guy used to do was that he used to let children, especially his kids or whatever, children, play with the canvas. And then he would go and play with it. And at first I didn't understand. I was like, this guy's crazy. Why is this guy doing that? Like, is that his angle? Is that his marketing scheme? Then later, as I'm growing up, I find out, no, dude, that was his key. That was his doorway. It was his entry point. We all have an entry point. Many artists are like, I sit there and I meditate. Cool, that's your entry point. There's different little things that we do. One way that I do that I've noticed that happens for me over and over, it's doodling. I start doodling. And you don't have to get expensive paper, just any paper. But start doodling, start playing. What happens is that you're bringing the guard down. You're relaxing. This is something that I learned also I took voice lessons, because somehow I wanted to also take voice lessons at some point in my life. I think it was a way to reduce my stress. My mother was about to pass away from a serious illness. And I think I wanted to clear my mind, so I went and I take voice lessons when this was happening, right? Kim says, I might be moving to Arizona, and if I do, I'm coming to see you and Lisette. Awesome, come by. You're always welcome here in our studio.
You'll love the desert.
You're gonna love the desert, yeah. And yeah, artists are multi-directional, totally. It's dynamic. It's a dynamic play. What I found out is when I was taking the singing lessons, this person is very much loved in the community. She was
a musketeer.
Old lady. She was
original musketeer.
She was one of the Disney musketeers, huh?
Mm-hmm. She was one of the original musketeers.
And she taught pretty much every mariachi Mexican singer here in Tucson. She's really cool. Like, she knows her stuff. She's this sweet little old lady. And anyways, when I was learning how to sing from her, right, taking voice lessons, I'm not a singer. I was just trying to do something to help me relax, an extracurricular activity. What she taught me was, look, when you're singing, she gave me a piece of chalk in front of the chalkboard. And she's like, make circles as you're singing. And I didn't understand what it was either, right? But later on, I understood. I was like, oh man, this is what I do when I create art. What she was teaching me is to focus my attention out of here, out of my throat, out of my stomach, my diaphragm, out of my mind, and put it out, right? Because singing, painting, everything, outflow is the holy grail. Outflow. An artist. I'm going to gear out a little bit here, but creating out. It's not in. It's not, oh, I'm a deep thinker. No. A deep thinker who writes, that's it right there. It's out, right? It's out. A painter who paints, a singer who sings, it's out. It's exit, right? So anyways, as I'm learning this, she's having me do this. She's having me do this, like circles. She's having me do this circles, continuous circles, like O's, right? And she's like, keep going. Okay, start singing. And then keep going. And as I'm doing that, what happens is that it relaxes you. But you become so focused. Because now what you're doing is it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. Especially when you're not used to it. I heard this also from one of the best copywriters. His name is Gary Halbert. Those of you who are into marketing and all that kind of stuff. Gary Halbert said, look, I don't have a writer's block. He said this before he passed away already. But he said, I don't have a writer's block. There's people that say that they have writer's block. He said, it's not true. It's a made up idea. He's like, I'll start writing like that and I'll get out of writer's block. He says, start writing. I don't feel like writing because writing right now, I'm upset about A, B, and C and blah, blah, blah. He's like, by the second page, you already know what you're supposed to write. So it's in the outflow, right? But he relaxed himself, right? He started writing. He's like, start writing, just start writing. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about sentence structure. Don't worry about none of that. Just start writing. And you know, all these players that are doing it right, or have done it right, they're teaching this stuff. And this is one of the things that I feel like it's the most crucial thing for me. Besides being committed, right? If you're not even committed, you're not even going to try that. But once you're committed, start doing these things. Like Megan says, I like to meditate before I paint because of this. Exactly. There's a lot of people that meditate. There's people that pray. There's people that go for a walk. Whatever you do, right? I love meditating. I used to love doing it even more so because I needed large gaps of time, like 10-minute, 15-minute blocks, where I could just sit and look at a flower and just look at it and stare at it and drop the thought. And you know, if those of you who meditate, you know this, the awareness of anything, right? It drops the mental activity and all of a sudden you become aware of your space, your surroundings. And to me, that's what art is. Art is learning how to observe without judgment. Art is observing. It's the act of observation with no judgment. You're actually being... If you're an artist, if you're a true artist, and I know some people get offended, like, oh, I'm a true artist. If you're a true artist, you're not judging. You're not judging yourself. You're not judging what you're seeing. You're not judging what you're doing. You're in a state of purity, right? When you're creating, you're in a pure state. Anyone who does anything enough becomes an artist, right? It doesn't matter what you do. You could be brooming, you could be cleaning. You're a janitor. You're an artist if you do it without judgment. You become an artist. You do it with quality. Quality does not mean detail. It does not mean realism. It does not mean you're the most cleansy person. It does not mean that. Quality means full attention. Full attention on it. Whether you do it like me, you do a painting in 10 minutes, or you take, 30 days to do a painting. You take 30 days. It doesn't matter. If you do it with quality, that's where it's at. It's the quality. So... Where it's at. Oh, what's that song?
It's Beck.
Oh, Beck? I love Beck. Beck is cool. So yeah, guys, I hope that I brought any value to you guys. I know I'm throwing one thing after another here, but really what I was trying to get to... I
think it's been the theme all week, right? Is not creating, but mindset, yeah, totally. I mean, but the takeaway today is to do it in a state of play, in the spirit of play, gratitude, all those things. But see, it's a little difficult sometimes to nail it because what is it becomes abstract sometimes, unless you're feeling it, you're like, yeah. But if I feel for me. If I start playing around, kind of goofy, and tell myself this is not that serious, right? Yeah. Even though it's dead serious, because that's how I put, it's dead serious. That's how I pay my bills, right? That's how I pay the bills, right? So it's dead serious. Oh my God, it's so serious. But when I'm doing it, I tell myself, this is not that serious. It's not that serious. It's okay. You can F off, oh yeah, that color doesn't go there. It's fine. It doesn't go there. It's okay. Go to the next one. I don't have the right brush. Oh, it's okay. It's not that serious. You ain't gonna die over this. It's okay. Keep going. I also think you have that really strong muscle. Because there's times when I'm like, and you're like, it's fine. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think
you're really good about that. I feel like you've trained yourself really well in that space. And that's a practice that people have to. My scream was action for freak out when I'm freaking out, when I'm like stressed or something.
Yeah.
You're really good about bringing it back and being like, it's going to be fine.
You know, I think I got that from my mom. I think I come
very
from
proactive.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I come from a family of 10, right? And I mean, my mom is she was a very traditional Catholic from Mexico, you know, where I was born in Mexico. And as you know, if you have a big, you know, siblings, big family, you have two things, right? You have a lot of fun and you also have a lot of drama because there's 10 of you. So I think my mom knew how to put out fires really, really, really easy. And she taught us that, right? When something's going out of proportion, put out the fire. It's relax, you know, it's okay. Megan says you don't want to paint with lingering sense of fear. Yeah, definitely. Law of attraction for sure. Sam Megan's talking about law of attraction. Yeah. Yeah. There's a sense of fear happening, right? It's the judgment. Oh my God, the color is off. Oh, this is not, you know, all these little mechanics. And for me, the way to drop them again is this doesn't really matter that much. You know, what book says this doesn't mean anything?
I mean, all the teachings.
I know, but one of the yeah, all the teachings say that. But one of the books that says that phrase specifically.
I think it's a totally.
No, it's that big book that you were telling me about, Oprah. What Oprah read?
Course in Miracles.
Course in Miracles. If you guys haven't read that, I don't know. Check it out.
Yeah.
I love that. And one of my favorite authors, his name is Edgar Tolle. He talks about it and he says, if you just learn that, right? If you just practice that, if you just practice this phrase, this doesn't mean anything, right? When you look at something, you say, this doesn't mean anything. When you think about something, you say to yourself, this doesn't mean anything. When a problem arises or a challenge, you tell yourself, this doesn't mean anything. This does not mean, though, that you don't work towards it and that you don't resolve it. But you do it in a spirit where it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that was really hard for me.
That's the trick.
That was really hard for me to understand when I was first listening to those teachings of this is no thing, right? But it doesn't mean that you don't take action.
Yeah.
You have to be very... Like,
it doesn't mean that it's not important, that it's not urgent. Maybe it's urgent. But but the mind has to be in a place where it doesn't mean anything so that it doesn't fight against you. It doesn't fight against your action. Because the mind will fight against your purpose and your action. My action is that I need to create artwork. But if my mind thinks, oh my God, I'm freaking out, then it's going to fight against me. So I have to suspend my mind and say, this doesn't mean anything. And then boom. And then you go with full force. Megan says you learn to control your emotions and reactions to what is happening around you. Totally. Your emotions come from your thoughts. Totally. It's the thought, the emotion, and then the outcome, right? If your outcome is going to be poor, if your emotions are poor. Your outcome is going to be great if you're operating at a high vibration. I've talked about this in other videos. You want to be operating at a high vibration. For me, a high vibration is to be the busiest person in the room, right? But my mental attitude, this is one of the things I feel like this is the greatest discovery in my career. Do it in a state of play. Do it in a state of play. Be the fastest, be the hardest working person, but be as a child. Do it in a state of play. It doesn't mean that much. And then you become the most productive person. And you also become disciplined that way. You become disciplined because you learn how to suspend the freak out, right? The mind always wants to freak out. It wants to put you in that comfort place. So you suspend that. Megan says, I think you are very high vibe. Awesome. I love that. I feel like that's why you're doing well. Thank you so much, Megan. It took my wife and I a good while to understand this. Like, not understand it mentally, but experientially. And we're still going through it. We're still trying to, we're still learning it. But it took us a while to get it because something happened and we would freak out. I forgot how to paint like I did yesterday, and I would freak out, right? Oh my God, I was painting with a palette knife, and then the paintings I was just flowing, and today, I don't know what to do. And then it was a complete freak out. I spent years doing this, like going from freak out to freak out, until I started understanding, oh man, my thoughts are off.
and therefore my emotions are off, and then therefore my outflow is off.
Yeah, and rereading books and re-listening to audiobooks.
We're the biggest audiobook readers here in this studio.
And re-listening to different teachings and trying to create space, right?
Trying to create space. Before I went into the studio, go ahead.
Because I also think it's fair to say that it's a habit.
It's only a habit.
And so you first hear it and you conceptualize it. And then
it makes sense and you get excited.
And then you have to kind of experience it and then practice. And then once you experience it once and you have like that positive outflow or that positive experience and you're like, oh, okay, I have to practice this.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we're like, I get it. And then you think that tomorrow it's going to be, that you're going to be performing in that way, but it's a struggle because it's practice and practice.
The next day has to be the same. It's like taking a shower. You can't be like, oh, I figure out how to keep my body clean. All I have to do is shower once.
Yeah.
You know? Good luck with that, right? Like, it's got to be every day. You know? Possibly twice a day. You know? It's the same thing. That's why I tell you guys, write your goals down twice a day. I write my goals down in the morning. I write my goals down at night. Why? They keep me focused. Where am I going? Where am I going? As an artist, where am I going? As a husband, where am I going? As a father, where am I going? As a son, where am I going? As a brother, you know, as a citizen, as a whatever, where am I going? As a human being. And this keeps me in that place. And now this can get overwhelming, right? All of these goals and these challenges. So what I've learned lately is, dude, yes, that's where you're going, but go at it skipping, like a child. Go towards it skipping. Skip your way there. And I know it feels like I can't do that because it's so serious. I don't know, guys. I don't know for everybody, but this is my story. It's hell if I don't skip my way there. It's hell if I don't whistle my way there. It will feel like hell. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how great you are of an artist. If you don't skip and whistle your way there, it probably feels like hell. And so that's my takeaway. Do it in a spirit of play. Do it as a child. I think that JC was right when he was saying be as a child. I think he nailed it. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will talk to you guys soon again. And again, please, guys, on YouTube, whoever's watching this later on YouTube, be patient with me. I'm going to flip it. It just takes a couple of days for me to flip the video. But I want to also share this on YouTube and provide some value for you guys. So be patient. Thank you so much, Instagrammers. Beautiful people of Instagram. You guys are all beautiful here on Instagram. Take care. Adios. Oh, Kim. That's a great state of mind to be on. Awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.